sometimes you just realize that time is not your friend. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So the little that you have, make moves that count. Don't
mm,
just make a move because you think you're gonna. It's like chess. You make a move, any kind of random move, they're gonna take your pawn or your knight or your queen. So you make sure that you make a move that counts. That's gonna work for you, maybe in the next hour or a day or the next week. So you just don't make any random moves. So everything has to be almost like calculated on how you approach it. You know.
that's
So
a very good
yeah.
point, bro. I've definitely been very guilty of just making a move for the sake of like, okay, I'm doing stuff, but that's an actually very interesting point to make a move that counts.
Yeah, every move you make has to count because at the end of the day, everything is connected. You just have to see it. If you don't see it, then you're just making moves, and then you tend to get frustrated at why you haven't reached the goal or why are things taking so long because you don't see the bigger picture. Once you see what the picture looks like, then you're able to make moves. You're able to know every person you link up with is going to help you in a certain way. You know what I mean? Either whatever you do is just connected. You just need to realize what your what your game plan is, and once you realize that, you won't even just leave the house for no reason.
Mm.
You only leave the house when you know that I'm gonna make a move like this, or I'm gonna meet up with someone who's gonna put me onto this. You know what I mean? You don't just leave the house with no plan.
Mm. Interesting, bro. It sounds like you're like 100% like just focused.
You have to be. I
Yeah.
mean, you when you've lived a very interesting life, if I can put it that way, and you've seen challenges and you've been through so much, you end up evolving and taking a step back and be like, okay, this didn't work. This didn't work. I've done that for like 10 years and it didn't work. Why am I still doing it? So you have to now regroup and be like, okay, now let's be focused. That didn't work. Let's try a new way to move. You know what I mean? Every time you're able to come back and reflect on your day or your quarter or your year, then the next move always becomes a better beneficial move. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because I mean, when we grow up, we don't have things to fall on or enough history or mistakes for us to realize. So we just do shit. I don't know if it's okay to swear. Sorry, but
Oh no, go for it. You can
yes.
say whatever you want. There's no restrictions on my end.
Okay. So as we grow up, we don't have anything to fall on. So we live in the moment and we do things in the moment, and whatever consequences come with that, we take. But then as you grow older, you realize, okay, I have my fun now. How do I build myself to become the Jay-Z? You know what I mean? And you have to sacrifice so much to move to the next level. And you'll never get to the next level until you beat all the mistakes that you've done and never look back. Because it's like games, it's like arcade games. You can never go to the next level until you beat the boss. And the boss is always the
Mm,
obstacles of your life.
mm.
What are you learning the lessons from the losses? Because if you don't learn the lessons from the losses, you keep staying on the same level until you beat the boss. Once you do that, then you move on to the next level. you know so
That's a
that's
great
how you
analogy.
you, you basically have to, like, or I look at it all the time, even with the wife here. We constantly planning. After her 9 to 5, we find out what's next. And then we do her stuff. In between doing her stuff, I'm doing my stuff, and we constantly supporting each other because there's an end goal. We need to see the goal, and then we go for it. But there's little obstructions and things happening, like the daughter, the son, they need this, they need that. So you're like, okay, time out there. Let me do this quick and do that quick. But you always remember there's a finish line there. You need to get to the finish line. So once you're done with them, get back to that. So
Mm.
that's how we should be moving as a people.
So it seems like you've got this like really rock solid mindset from my perspective, and a very like mature mindset in terms of how you approach failure and how you approach obstacles. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have that, you know what I mean? So did you always have that approach, or have you learned that, or what's that been like?
I didn't like I say, you know, I've had so many I've done so many mistakes. I've been trapped on one level of life, and eventually I had to like reflect about my life. You know what I mean? If you don't reflect, you don't know where you're going wrong. You don't know whether you're achieving goals. You don't know how you're moving because everything is just a blur, you know? And it took me a while to get to that stage. It took, I mean, I've had countless of advice from a lot of people, but it didn't click until I sat back and looked at my picture for like 10, 20 years and just counted it. Okay, if I didn't do this move, I'd be here. If I didn't do this move, I'd be here. But I'm still doing this. You know, you put it into a perspective that makes sense. And you realize if I continue living like this, that's another 20 years of the same shit.
Mm.
Do I want to keep, doing the same thing? And how am I going to be able to teach my kids to move on to other levels or learn how to move if I'm still stuck on one spot? So it becomes a whole thing that helps me it teaches me self growth because I have to reflect in order to move on to the next. You can't always be carrying your past. You know what I mean? Because carrying your past makes the journey even heavier for you to get to the next one. So there's certain things that you just need to shed off and realize, okay, I did them. It was great while it lasted. Now I need to do something different or move different. It took a while, but I mean, I guess, because I was always a curious person in so many levels that I always wanted to know. And if I kept on a level for too long, it gets frustrating. And I need to know, why am I still here? Why? Everybody's just passing by and they're doing 10 levels beyond me. Why am I still here? And sometimes, it's the journey. You know what I mean? You have to give it to the journey and be like, okay, let's reflect. But when you reflect and you realize, okay, it's because I've been doing this all the time. You know
Mm.
what I mean? If I stop doing this, what would be the result? And then you try it and you're like, oh, snap. I could have done that 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. Shit,
Yeah.
okay. And then you're able to move on, Reflection is a very big thing to do if you really want to progress. Even whether you're doing a 9 to 5 or you're working on a project or whatever you're doing, it's a good way to reflect on what you've achieved, what worked or did not work for you to get to the next level or improve or enhance whatever you're working on.
Mm. It's
Straight.
so important, isn't it? It's absolutely important, and to reflect as honestly as you can,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in this process of like reviewing people's music and checking stuff out, right? Like there are some people that kind of get upset if I tell them like, oh, I think maybe you should do this or that, but
Yeah.
it's I'm no expert, right? I'm just giving my
Yeah.
opinion, but
Yeah.
it you don't have to listen to what I say, but you should definitely listen to it, take it on board and think, okay, and then re-listen to your music and decide for yourself if you think I'm right or not. But
Yeah.
you should at least take that criticism as, okay, this
Yeah.
might be able to help me get better,
Yeah. Yeah.
and approaching
Yeah.
it that way, like you were saying,
Mhm.
is it's essential if you want to get
Yeah.
better at what you're doing.
That's true. I mean, even with opinions and criticism, you don't have to take everything in.
Mm.
Take what you can use and use it. Not everybody's out to put you down, but some criticism is good. You know, if you're an open-minded person, you'd realize when people are talking that they actually have good points. Not everything will work for you. Not everything that worked for them will work for you the way it happened for them. So you just take here, take here, take here, put your own thing together, and you realize that we actually are building each other in so many aspects. The little that I'm contributing towards you is not to say use it, it's going to work for you. But there's something in that sentence or that paragraph that you could just pick out and it just fits into your puzzle and makes it one full puzzle,
Absolutely,
Yeah.
bro. Absolutely.
Straight up,
Bro, you've got
straight
a
up.
very very good way of like using analogies and like describing like putting what you want to say into like easy to digest terms.
Mm.
Like have you always been good at that, or has that been developed along with your hip hop skills?
Developed along the way. Plus, I rap, so you're always kind of like trying to become, put things in a very easy way to receive as a listener, but at the same time creatively. So it's my mind is just shaped differently because of my journeys and the music and how I've been writing and how I've been receiving information and digesting it my way. So I mean, it gets shaped along the way. I was never like this. I was never like this. But yeah, I think I turned out good. I
Mm.
turned out good. I tell a younger version of myself that just keep going. Things are gonna look good. Just keep going.
It's hard to believe that when you're in the middle of it, hey.
True,
Yeah.
true. Because
It's
you don't see the blessings when they're there. But like I say again, when you reflect, you get to see them.
mm,
But when you're in it and you're just moving, you miss them, you misuse them, you might even lose them as quick because you were not there to realize that right now in this moment, everything that you have is what you've been wanting to have,
mm,
but instead you focused on what more do you want to get. There's other things that you want to get, and it's cool. Have that drive, but realize, like, chill a bit and be like, oh damn, but I'm here now. I'm good, and as much as I'm not 100%, but the 80% is freaking dope. I've worked my ass off to get here and I'm here. So you have to reflect and give yourself a pat on the back, because not everyone will like, you did good. Not everybody even sees how hard you've worked to get to where you are.
mm.
So it's always good for you to reflect on your life and how far you've come. You've lost relationships, you've made relationships along the way, and it's part of the journey. You just need to sit back and be like, wow, you know what? I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful to be here today and still being able to do more moves. But right now, everything that I have, I've prayed for. 10 years ago, I didn't have this, or 5 years, or a year ago. But now that I have it, I appreciate and acknowledge it, with so much gratitude, and you keep moving on to the next. Just, that's it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to look at it, bro. 100%. I think it
Yeah.
is important to sit back and look at like where we are, and that's a very, very, very true thing you said when you said that this is where you wanted to be 5 years ago or however long. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
it's 100% true. There's so much stuff. I remember when I was like 18, 19, right? And I was living in a share house with some mates, right? And
Yeah.
you know what it's like living in share houses. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's always
Yeah.
issues, even if you
Yeah.
get along well.
Yeah.
And bro, I just always wanted to live in my own place with no mates. And that was like such a simple goal. Everyone usually gets to that point at some point. And like I've got that now, you know what I mean? I mean, I share with my sister, but I'm moving to Melbourne soon. It's going to
Yeah.
be my own place. And it's just those little things
Yeah.
are so beautiful.
Yeah.
And you longed for them so hard not too long ago.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. And it's always good to be aware of that, of how far you've come.
Mm,
Because it's not easy. This life is not easy, bro. And it takes a strong kind of character and willpower to stay afloat, and also understand the next person could be having it even harder than you did. You
mm,
know, so you constantly have to appreciate life more than anything. It's about appreciating life and the people that are around you, the people that are still there, and even the people that fucked up in your life and made you feel a certain way. They contributed to who you are today. You're now able to understand what you want and what you don't want.
mm,
Without everybody playing that part, it will be hard. It will be very hard for you to understand what you want in life.
mm. 100%, bro. How did you, or when did you work out what you
Yeah.
wanted in life?
Um, bro, I didn't know what I wanted to be in life. I knew what I was interested in. I was interested in so many things, but it, by the time I realized that I was knee deep into hip hop, for instance, I would say that was in my 2000s, where now I was really being driven to do music. And I was like, I really want to drop an album. I really want to drop an album. And then I did that. And then I realized it's not just about dropping an album. Now you have to really push. You know what I mean? You have to push your music. You have to get people to realize. You
Mm.
have to be in front of people to perform it. So there's so many levels of growth and trying new things that, like I say, I didn't know until maybe there was a time where I ended up. I'm gonna continue talking. I don't know if it's cool because I kind of
Yes.
am assuming it just keeps recording.
Yeah, sorry, bro. The camera cut
It's
out,
okay.
but
It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's that I ended up being taught that if you really want things in life, you have to put them in a vision board. I think having my first vision board was what sparked this kind of thinking, because then but I didn't understand how to do a vision board because I thought this was the future that I wanted. But then nowadays I don't even do it that way in my head. I do
Mm.
it focused on the things that I'm already doing now. I'm like, okay, I can rap. There was a time where it was hard for me to get album artwork, and I was like, it gets so frustrating because designers are so busy. And I decided, man, screw that. I'm gonna teach myself how to design,
Mm.
and I got into that. You know what I mean? Only after a long process of trying things, I realized, oh snap! Every single thing that I've ever got interest in doing is connected to everything that I love doing right now. So
Mm.
how do I shape it into something that moves? You know what I mean? How do I shape it and realize that every day I can actually do all these things because they all already happen. Everything has its own life, and it's everything at the end of the day is still connected. So how do I, end up shaping it out? So it just became a life of lessons in that way, that I now realize that I am able to do everything I ever wanted. I mean, if I ever want to study now, I just need to put time for it, probably 2 hours, an hour in my schedule to achieve whatever it is that I want to study for. But all these other things don't stop. They just keep happening because I've been investing time in giving them life. Even though I was not aware, I probably gave up on so many things so many times, but still got back up and be like, nah, I want to do it. I want to do it better than I did the last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to my surprise, it's like 20 years later, and I'm still at it on a different level, of course, with more experience. But everything exists. The only thing that I kind of like did not uh, really achieve as a childhood dream was be a pilot. I wanted to be a pilot when I was a kid. But then over the years, I just got interest in other things and I was like, nah, this pilot thing can wait. But funny enough, lately I'm like, probably I can be a pilot. I can still do that. It was back then. Now, if I put in time, I could probably be a pilot. Buy myself a jet one of these days. So everything is still
Go see
connected.
Jay-Z.
All the dreams you've ever had still exists. The only thing is this: you just need to put time in making them, manifest. You know,
Mm.
yeah.
Bro, that is so like spot on what you said. I know I've said that's everything you've said so far, but I truly believe it, It's so spot on what you said, how everything is connected, and or at least this is my experience, and how everything like in your life builds you to the point where, like for me, when I realized like this is what I want to do, it's like everything I've done up to this point has been getting me ready for this, and now I'm ready.
True.
You know what I mean?
Straight up.
And
Straight
it's
up.
so
That's real talk, fam.
100%, and it's so strange. It's so weird because it's like, how would that be the case? But like, just all these little things, like I learned how to do this like 5 years ago for no reason, and then now it's like
Yeah.
coming in handy. You know what I mean? It's so
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. I mean, it's like walking. You never know until you take the next step.
Mm,
And if you continue taking the next step, you end up finding yourself in a space that you never thought you'd be in.
mm,
You know what I mean? And how you move from there is always on you. You just need to take accountability of the steps you've taken, acknowledge that, see if this is where you really want to be. If not, you keep moving.
mm.
Just keep moving. You know what I mean? That's it.
Absolutely, 100%, bro. So you were talking about you obviously you've been rapping for 20 years, did you say?
Yeah. Roughly 20 years. It's been a
So
minute.
I haven't gone through your full discography yet, but I did start at the beginning, right? On Spotify at least. And I started with
Yeah,
part
yeah,
one of that 3-part series. I've
yeah,
nearly
yeah.
finished the third part. And bro, I wanted to like talk about that if you can and like dive into that as much as you want, because it
Sure,
just straight away, as soon as I saw the three
sure.
parts, I loved the concept and not analogy where it's like an abbreviation, you know, the letters, and they have each letter has a
Yeah. Of
yeah,
each
it's
title, yeah.
exactly, it's amazing, bro. So why don't you like dive into
Yeah.
the whole concept and what it means to you? And yeah.
Um, Man, the trilogy is called Wrong, Rough, and Rugged. The first the first one is Wrong, RONG, Raging on Neutral Grounds. So with that project, when I released that, bear in mind when I did this trilogy, I had no idea at first that it was going to turn out into a trilogy. I just wanted to be in the game, play my part, and people were dropping demos to record companies, and I was like, I don't want to do this demo thing, man. I think I can rap, so why must I do demos? Who am I trying to impress? You know, I'm just going to drop my music, and that's it. And then I did. Initially, the album was going to be called, or the EP was going to be called Wrong, Rough, and Rugged.
Mm,
It was going to be that, and then after I compiled the music, I was like, what if I split this into three? And then I can give myself like 3 years to do this. And every year I just do Wrong, Rough, and Rugged, and then compile it into a full album after all three. And then I dropped Wrong, RONG, Raging on Neutral Grounds. And I think when you listen to that project, I was young, I was hungry, I was angry, I was, like even my delivery, my choice of writing skills was uh, taken from. You can feel the influences if you know what I mean. Like I was now trying to figure out who this artist is that I'm trying to step out as,
mm,
and yeah, that project dropped. It was received pretty well on the streets because back then it was like when you dropped a CD, because tapes were kind of like fading out. And now there was this, if you had to have your music on CD type of situation. And I was like, I'm gonna drop this on a CD before tape. And people received it well. It was dope. And then I did Rough, which was releasing Underground's Frustrated Forces. That was an elevation of, now I'm feeling like I'm comfortable as an artist, but still angry because I'm not getting the attention that a mainstream rapper would get.
mm,
They're not playing my music on radio like every other cat is, or on rotation like every other cat is, hence the title of that second piece. But then I knew I had good music. You can't deny the good music that I'm dropping. You know what I mean? And then, funny enough, after that second part, that's when I realized that I don't actually have to do it for TV or the record label to get signed. And my mind just kind of like, forget that hype. That's no longer working. Now you're able to move different. There are actually people that are listening to your music. You don't have to do it for being famous or the mainstream. They don't play that kind of music. The music that you're making, the streets love it. You know what I mean?
mm.
And then I did that. And then before I dropped the third piece, I did an abridged EP called The Arrival. And there you can feel like the growth, because now they are more comfortable as an artist. Now I'm making music not out of anger anymore, but now purely creating music. You know what I mean? And making sure that this is how I want to express the music. These are the beats that I'm working with, even the features that I do. There's even a song called What Makes a Man. I basically now was telling my stories, my full on stories of my evolution, or my change is through the music. Because before the first one was almost like I was impressive. I can rap. I can do this. I got punchlines. I'm the better. The ego was now growing from that. The second one, the ego was like, yeah, I'm rock solid. Wow, And then after that, it was like, nah, chill. Let's make music. Let's see how far this music thing can take us. And then before I dropped the third piece, I did that, the arrival, and it took me a while to get to the final piece because I had started a rap group in South Africa called Social Commentary Forum, and I did like a little Wu Tang. I picked like 8 MCs, 2 beat makers, and we just dropped another album which got nominated for Album of the Year the next year. And I kind of like forgot about my music a bit because now I was now the guy who put the group together, the guy who made sure the marketing was on point, the guy who picked up everybody to take them to the show and drop them back off. I was basically the manager, like the transport guy, you know what I mean? And so I ended up just forgetting about my own music. And then when that phase went out, I got back. I'm like, yo, I still got a project to finish. And then I dropped Rugged Soweto Stories of Africa 2015. And that was a dope. I think that was out of all the projects, all the 3 projects, that's my favorite because now it was more focused on addressing issues around me as much as I was expressing what I was going through, but there was just a lot of things happening around the country. People were going through so much, and then I decided, let me create an album that goes out to the world and tells the world how Soweto is a township in South Africa, just 10 minutes away from Johannesburg. Apparently it's the biggest township in the world, if I'm correct. Where Nelson Mandela used to live, we have, I think, 3 Nobel Peace Prize winners in Soweto. So I created my stories around that, from when Soweto was birthed, why it was birthed, and after that, what was going on around, and it was 2014, what was currently happening within that time. So you could realize that, okay, it's almost like the past, present, and future type of project that I created there. So yeah, that's Wrong, Rough, and Rugged. Beautiful journey.
It's awesome, bro. It's like such a unique and amazing concept. Like as soon as I saw it, before I'd even listened to it, I just read the titles, and then I also read some of the titles of the songs. I sent it to my mate. He's a real rap nerd, and he's a rapper himself. I was like, bro, 100% check this out. I think I was listening to the first track, so I had a feel for the music, and I told him, I said, check it out, bro, because I think he's gonna love it too. And I just think as well, one thing I noticed with the first one is that I can't remember a specific example, but like you had the names of the songs, and it kind of depicted it like it was a story within itself. That the names, it followed a storyline, and then when you listen to the song, the name of the song and the content of the music, it was like a metaphor, and you use double meanings, like to tie. Let me just pull it. I mean, you've probably got an example for that, but like Crashland, for example, and Overnight Stars and Fed Up. It was amazing, bro. When I read Overnight Stars, like I assumed that it meant that you were on the ground and you were looking up at the stars. And the Crashland, I assume meant that you crashed, but maybe I won't spoil it for the listeners. But that's not what it means.
Yeah. I mean, Crashland. Funny enough, I'll tell you a story about Crashland. Crashland was the first song I recorded, and before I did that song, there was a time where I was performing, trying to get my name out there, and then I got booed. I mean, I think as an artist, if you've never been booed, your confidence is different. It hits different. But when you booed, you've got reason to come back stronger. And we had hip hop shows in South Africa. If you were whack, you get booed. If people are not feeling what you're doing right now, people go boo, and it just becomes like, oh shit, while you're on stage, like, is this happening to me? And then when that happened to me, I went home. I remember going home and I was like, I quit hip hop. I can't do this anymore. And then I think I freaking chilled for like a year, close to a year. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this hip hop thing. Then the homies used to pull up like, yo, Shynin, let's go. The gig is on. Like, I'm not going there. I got booed, man. I don't want to see that anymore. I'm cool. And I chilled. And then the guy who produced the song Crashland pulls up. He's like, yo, Shynin, here's five pieces that I made, burnt on a CD. I took them and I went home. I listened to them. I'm like, and then I picked the Crashland song. I hear it. I'm like, okay, if I'm ever going to go back, this should be the song. I created a whole hook. If you listen to the hook, it says, let the real bump their heads and the fake keep on falling. Crash landed like planes with no sign of a warning. This shit is weak. It should be flushed in the toilet. Fuck the bullshit. Here's the real hip hop. When I did that hook, I'm like, oh yeah. I tried it out at the first show after that, and I got the crowd to sing the chorus, and they loved it. And after that day, that's when I was like, okay, the name of the song is called Crashland. I'm back now, and hopefully now I have staying power. Because now, your ego gets bruised, bro, when you get booed. It's like, shit, man. I thought I was dope. And it's a reality check. That's one thing I loved about shows that booed, because it's a whole reality check. You can think you're dope, but then you step out to the crowd, and the crowd is like, nah, bro, go practice, go home, go do that again, come back and try it next week. You know what I mean? And it kind of built how artists of my era, were shaped. You know what I mean? I look at how the game has changed now, there's no booing at a show. We give you an honest chance, do your thing. Even if you were whack, we clap your hands, but you leave there thinking you're dope. You know what I mean? So you have nothing to really improve on because you always think you're dope because nobody's saying you whack. You know, so everybody now thinks they can rap because there's no filter. There's nobody giving you a reality check. You know, and so kids nowadays have it so easy. That's why everybody thinks they can rap and everybody thinks they're good because nobody's telling them you whack. You know, so yeah, and that's how Crashland came about. And then Overnight Stars, I was talking about everybody who was around me, like the same example I'm telling you, that the guys that were not being booed were getting overconfident and they were becoming overnight stars because now, you know, they're getting signed and you listen to the music they do and it's like, what? But this guy's whack. And this guy just started rapping yesterday and he signed today. You know, and then I was like, oh, these guys are overnight stars, and just wrote a song about it. And yeah, it's crazy journey, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. That it happens so often that some of the more, or some of the most talented and skillful artists, they don't get that sort of attention that they deserve, you know. And I don't know why, man. I don't know if it comes down to, I mean, you've watched hip hop evolve over 20 years, so you might have more insight. But I don't know, at least in this day and age, whether it comes down to how they market themselves, how they put themselves out there. I mean, how much of it is just luck? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there's this perspective that once the business sector entered hip hop, talent was forgotten. Now it was about how to make a quick buck using a certain artist. Look at how music is created now. Music now does not even have an attention span. Like people do singles now. You know what I mean? You do an album, people think you're on steroids. Like, whoa, how did you do 10, 20 songs? Man, that's crazy. And you're thinking, but that's how you do music. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, nah, you just need one song, bro. And everybody's just creating one song, hoping that one song will blow them up. And then they're going to do another song. And people have forgotten about the song that they did last year. You know what I mean? And the attention span has switched so much because of the business model, the corporates. Once the corporates came in, it was like, we're going to use a song for an advert. We're going to use this song for this campaign. And now people are tailoring songs to accommodate the corporate. And when corporate started stepping into hip hop, we almost lost the authenticity of it, the essence, the pure essence of why we do hip hop. You know what I mean? And now we're trying to impress the business models that are created by people who don't even listen to hip hop. You know, and we completely have lost how fun it was creating music and expressing yourself. Now it's about they want this kind of sound. Let's do that. You know what I mean? And you as an artist are compromising yourself and your sound to please people who don't listen to hip hop or follow the culture, or they literally don't have a clue about the culture. All they want to do is just sell a product, and they want you to be the face or the sound of that product. So that's why I'm saying that even with the kids nowadays, they don't have guidance. They don't have a history check of how hip hop was. They don't care where they come from. They here now, and this is how they want to do whatever they want to do, like now. You know what I mean? And it just makes it all the more difficult to even compete. You can't even, I don't even want to say compete, but that's what's happening now because it's about that one song. You just need that one song, and once that song is caught by everyone, you don't even want to do more music. Now you want to focus on just performing that one song everywhere you go, and then when it dies out, the artist is depressed now because all that hype is gone and they don't know what to do about themselves. But they forgot that the reason why they started was to express themselves the way they feel, not how somebody else tells them. You know, so the game has changed so drastically. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to relearn or reteach these ideologies or lessons that we grew up with to these kids, because these kids are from an era where the PlayStation 3 was here or 2 was here, and that's all they do. They just want to play this PlayStation and live in this world. And we grew up in an era where there was no PlayStation. You have to be outside. You know, parents used to beat our asses. Come back in the house. Nowadays, you're beating the kids' asses to go out. Like, go play outside. You know what I mean? The world has changed so drastically, and it's scary at the same time. It's interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I think it is interesting. It is different. And we have opportunities that we never used to have, but we also have problems that we never used to have.
Sure.
Do you think it's possible for us to cultivate a love for real hip hop and hip hop culture to the point where we can bring it back to its kind of roots in a sense and take it away from the corporate? Because we have the opportunity to now, with every one of us being able to be our own business manager and our own marketing manager. You know, we can all do that with social media.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible or even likely that, you know, a group of us in Australia can just do our thing and keep pushing this love for hip hop and hopefully cultivate that community with that love?
Yeah, I feel like we can. We have a good chance even now, since COVID came through and gave us a full clean slate. You know what I mean? We're back at starting from scratch, meaning that we're back at a point where we should understand that we have a responsibility to teach or reteach the culture that there are shows happening. You guys need to pull up and support. And once you get that moving and making people understand when there's a show, it doesn't matter whose show it is. As long as it's hip hop, we go, we support. You know what I mean? Because look at even how events half the time are being promoted. Is another way that shows you how disconnected we are. That back then we used to hand out flyers. Word of mouth was the strongest thing. Now people are online, posting online, boosting the post online, and hoping that 100,000 people see it. But then at the same time, with all those people that see it, on the day of the show, you get like 20 people showing up. You know what I mean? So if we really want to take it back, we have to take it back to the old ways of how we used to do things and make people relearn how to support the culture. Because digital is not the only way. It was never the only way. Before digital, there were plenty of ways to get through to people. And imagine before social media, we literally would put a poster up, and the 10 people that spotted that poster, you were guaranteed that they were going to show up because it was a hip hop poster amongst gospel and all of those other things. And like, oh snap, this is one of us. We go in there. You know what I mean? And they tell 5 other people, yo, we saw the poster. Oh, they're going to snatch the poster and walk around with it, and they're going to show up at the gig. Now people are on social media. So if I don't follow you, I don't know whether you have a gig or not. You know what I mean? So it's all on us. It's all up to us now to actually initiate activities that mobilize the whole community to say, yo, this is happening next week. After this, those guys are doing a show. Let's go show support there. After them, you know what I mean? We need to find out where the hubs are, go there full force and support. And while we're there, find other ways to enhance this mobilization of people to move on to the next. And how are you going to spread that word before you get to social media? You know, we have a chance. We have a clean slate now. COVID has literally put us all back at the starting line. Everybody is at the starting line. Nobody's better than anybody. If you're going to be better, it's because you're moving. If you decided to chill back and stay at home, that's on you. But you had a chance to start with everyone. Doesn't matter whether it was corporate or indie. You know, nowadays you're able to record at home and release your music at home. It's an advantage. But that doesn't mean it ends there, because you still have to go out and perform. So you need to get people to come to your show, you know? And those on social media might pull up, but there's a lot of people that you would wish would pull up who are not on social media. So you need to find a way to get to them, you know? Because being physical is the best way to get a message across than digital. You know, digital is good. It helps. It's got its advantages. Like right now, you and I are literally having a conversation from different parts of, you know, the world, which is a beautiful thing. And it would have been even more dope if I was sitting there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure, bro, yeah.
But, you know, it works, but, you know, it has its advantages and disadvantages. So it's really up to us to understand where the culture is and where we want to drive it. Because what we're doing now is lessons that the kids are going to learn from us. You know, so we need to move and understand that there's kids actually watching us, and they probably going to want to learn. And the only way they learn by seeing. So we need to do so that they can mimic that and come back to us and ask us questions. How did you do this? Did you fail? Yeah, we failed here, 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 and they can improve on that. You know, if we don't teach them, then they don't know how to learn and improve this culture that we love. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So where do you think the culture in Melbourne is at the moment in terms of like moving towards that goal of bringing it back to where you would like it, and I think a lot of people would like it to be, compared to where it actually is now?
I feel like I've been here for a year now. When I got here, I felt like, and I still have a bit of that everybody's doing the same thing. We're all doing the same thing, but everybody's doing it in their own corners. Everybody's doing the same thing, but in their own corners. They choose, nah, I'm going to do it with him. I want to do it with him. And it's like, well, why? You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, then how are you going to get me to come support you if you are doing it on that corner and you don't have the decency to pull up and tell me that, yo, I've got this, come in, pull up and tell everybody that's rapping. Like, it's almost like we're in the same house, but everybody's having ciphers in different corners. Why don't we just group up together? One guy drops a beatbox and everybody can bob their heads and start throwing 16s or whatever. You know what I mean? So I feel like since I got here, that's what I spotted. I remember telling T from Friday and Tasty that, yo, man, this culture is divided. I don't know, man. I don't know. And it's like, well, let's come up with something. Let's do something and put it together. Funny enough, he had started the Breaking Bread networking sessions at the shop. And I was like, you see this? This is where it all starts. Because now everybody pulls up. The culture is here. We're all eating. We're talking. You know what I mean? And it's more physical. We're here. It's reality. It's now we're able to shape how we want things to move. You know what I mean? And I mean, since I've been here, that's what I spotted. But now currently, I feel like there's been a big shift. We are now slowly, gradually going into the direction of unity, because we are reteaching people in different ways, but we're doing it. We're able to now know where the shows are and go. You know, whether I'm there or not, people are actually there, and you can see it online now because they now post like, oh snap, damn, why did I miss it today? You now have FOMO because you told people, yo, you need to let's meet up there every Tuesday, and now they're showing up, and on the day you don't go, everybody's there is like, snap, okay, now I'm missing out. You know what I mean? It gives you that thing that okay, now I have to show up for the culture because the culture is now moving and it's becoming active, which is what breaking bread has been all about, and it's happening right now. It's a beautiful thing because it's not something that will be achieved in a day or two. It slowly builds up. It can take 2 years, but for the fact that there's motion towards that, it will be achieved.
Bro, that's honestly amazing. Like, honestly, it's amazing to hear that you guys are doing that, and it's amazing to hear that that's kind of like your mission behind breaking bread. And I think even already, we're only however far in, but I feel like I've learned so much in terms of what I can do better to bring people together rather than to make it a competition, because I think maybe that could be part of the issue. I think it's healthy to be competitive to a degree, but I think seeing other artists as your competitors, and it's like it's either me or them kind of mindset, is probably a big part of what's created this division.
Yeah, it's an ego, bro. Hip hop has got egos. Hip hop is a very competitive sport, but at the same time, it's a culture. The culture does not exist if people are not playing their part within it. You know what I mean? And we need to realize that we right now, competition is good, like you're saying, it's very good. It keeps you on your toes and all. But right now, literally, we just came out of COVID. There's no time to be competitive. We need to rebuild what was into something better, so that when there's competitions and people want to compete, they're competing on something that has a foundation and is solid and can accommodate those egos and support that competition and even create activities around whoever is competing. You know what I mean? And be there to support this clash that is going to end after that night. It's done. It's like, okay, back in our boxes. Okay, let's go work. What's next? You know what I mean? Competition is good because it's like sparring. If you got beef with me, we go on the streets, we spar it out quick. If you win, you won, dog. You beat me. You know what I mean? That's it. But tomorrow we're hanging out. We're talking about other things. Whatever dispute we had, we dealt with it, we solved it, on to the next. You know what I mean? That's the kind of environment we should be creating with hip hop. It's healthy, it's good, but it needs a solid foundation because it's lost that with COVID hitting. Everybody just forgot what we were doing, what it was all about. And now that we're back, everybody's like, I want to be on top, I want to be on top, I want to. But come on, bro. Like, okay, we understand you want to be on top, but what are you trying to be on top of? Because there's no ladders here. We still need to build ladders for you to climb up. You know what I mean? And you're not going to build that ladder by yourself. You're going to need another person to hold it on the other side and knock, put the straps in. You know what I mean? So you can start going up. And even when that ladder is built, what are you going up on? Are we building a house, a mansion for you to climb up to the roof and say, yeah, I made it? You know what I mean? So that, again, needs a foundation of people who are going to work together to build that, to get you there. And it's always better for you to get up there with the support of the culture. You know what I mean? Going there up there alone and screaming, yeah, I did it. And nobody's like, people are going to be like, okay, great, now what? But it's something when you get up there and say, yeah, I did it. And we're like, yeah, we did it. We got you up there. Yeah, man, now you're able to pull everybody up and see what's the next level like. You know what I mean? Getting there up there, it's lonely, it's hard. And people have their own, I'd say, egos and agendas when it comes to planning and achieving goals. So if people don't work with an honest heart and good intentions, there will always be obstacles that are necessary, and it could make things hard. But right now, it's not a time for egos. It's not a time for competition. It's time for rebuilding something that can stand by itself right now, we don't even need the mainstream media. We don't need TV. We don't need radio. We can literally vibe to our own music by going to the shows and telling everybody, yo, my song is on Spotify. And people bump it knowing that you literally told them and you just performed the song. You know what I mean? And next time you perform the song, now we're singing along. Because it's more, interpersonal now. It's like, okay, now that's one of us. We know who to support because we're all working together to make this happen. You know what I mean? Hip hop is an industry by itself. Now it's even better because there's so many things that were sidelined because of technology and how things have now been created. You can record at home now. You can master yourself. You can upload your music on, but you still need to think out the box because it's not just about the music. It's the culture. How are you getting everybody else involved to help? How do you get everybody to help you help them?
How do you think we help people understand that while competition between each other is healthy, we should ultimately be, because if I have a podcast and you have a podcast and T has a podcast, we could either all be separate and compete with each other and try and be the best podcast, or we can all work together, share ideas, and all improve and all create better content. And ultimately, we can still compete to try and be the best among us. But it doesn't really matter who's on top, because if, like you were saying, if we all help each other up, there's going to be all around better content, and it's going to build and help the culture and the community grow, and it's going to attract new members, right? And we can, I truly believe that we can build an Australia-wide, deep, like a culture and community of people that love like real hip hop, and they love the essence of the culture, and they love the intricacies of the music, right? I believe we can do that, but I think, you know, from my limited understanding, I think one of the big obstacles is this opposition between media platforms, between artists, with people thinking that it's me or him, and how do I beat them? Like, how do we help people understand that by working together, we all go up?
Yeah. I feel like such topics need like a workshop. And at a workshop, we already spot all the podcasts that are actually promoting hip hop, for instance. And all those guys sit there and discuss, what's your podcast about? What's your podcast about? You know what I mean? And everybody just breaks down everything on the table and just puts everything on the table. This is what we're all about. Okay, cool. And then you start now looking at the culture. What's happening in the culture? And then you start, putting everything according to who does what, and say, okay, you actually could handle that. You could handle that. You could handle that. You could handle that. What's left? Okay, so we could actually have ad breaks about these, that. But at the same time, how about you give me an ad on my podcast, like a 10-second ad about your whatever you're doing, and then I put it on my podcast as a 10-second break, and we just do that. And in that way, I'm promoting you, you're promoting me, I'm promoting, you know what I mean? And it becomes a thing that even when a new artist steps into the culture, they know they have platforms to go to. If there's a tour happening, they know there's going to be an interview here, interview here, interview here, interview here, because that's the culture. That's now even shaping how we listen to or learn about the culture, because we know you on Monday, the next guy is on Tuesday, the next guy is on a Wednesday. You know what I mean? And we have a whole week of just pure uncut hip hop documentation, and we're chilling. And we know that maybe every 2 months we meet up for another workshop. Yo, guys, what's new? You know what I mean? And we're constantly uplifting each other. Those are the kind of things that we usually talk about with T. That this is where we need to shape it. This is where we need to take it. You know what I mean? Because egos and competition are good, like we were saying, but they can only last you so far. Because even when you win, you feel like, I'm on top of the world, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. Now you don't have competition because you've eliminated it. And now what? You're going to start beef with somebody else? Like, you know what I mean? It's unnecessary. So that's what I'm saying. Like right now, we're at a point where we need to squash beefs and we need to come up with solutions that build it. And then maybe after 3 years, when everything is solid, then you can just let everybody do whatever they want to do. But funny enough is that when they do it, they'll be doing it under a structure, under the culture. And we will know when it happens, and we will support it, and we will give it the promo it needs, because we are all working as one.
That's amazing, bro. You've hyped me up.
yeah, that's it, bro.
Yeah.
That's what these discussions should be about. That's how we build. That's how we get to even know each other, because there's things that you're teaching me as well. I'm like, okay, I can, even through the questions, you're getting me thinking as I go. That okay, damn, yeah, I didn't see it like that, but it actually is like that, because everything has been to my access. The world is my playground, but the question is, do I know where I want to go play? And who's going to be there to play? Are they thinking of themselves? Are they, or am I able to be like, yo, can I share the swing with you? I push you once and I jump on and we all swing it together. You got to just kind of like figure out how to move and involve everyone when you move, so that there's no animosity when you do shit. And people are like, oh man, you stepping on my territory. Like, I didn't know, bro. I thought we were all doing the same thing. But when we're on one page, you're like, pull up. This one, just grab on there, man. Let's push. You know what I mean? And everything just works as it should.
Yeah, I think that's 100. Like, you've hit the nail on the head, bro. Like, it sounds so, and again, the way you kind of put it, it sounds so, not easy but simple. You know what I mean? It's straightforward. I think the challenge will be encouraging other people to see it the same way.
Yeah, and the only way to do that is to start doing it, so that they can see you do it. When they see you do it, they kind of like give it a chance. Like, okay, let's see where this is going. But because it's a plan, you understand it, you see it. Now you just need to get to them, their vision, to say, yo, okay, this is where your vision is at. Just add this to that and tell me what you see. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, like, yeah, okay, let's do it. What's stopping us? We've got resources. All we need to do is just put in time and meet up and make sure the plan, we all see the finish line. Once we see the finish line, we all know how to move. Yes, a few of us will be distracted because life happens. But the few that know that the finish line is there and they're heading towards it, even if you slack, they'll pull up, yo, are you staying? What's happening? Let's go. And they'll always be able to pull you in, because you also play a part. You might not be able to play it at that time because life is happening, but they know how important you are. You know what I mean? And be like, yo, bro, we still need you. We can't get there without you. Nobody needs to stay behind. There's no reason for that. Right now we are building, and we need everybody to be on board, so that all this happens in a way that it benefits us as a community, as a culture.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'm excited listening to this, because I've kind of been thinking some of this stuff myself, and some of these questions I've asked you, I've been wondering myself, well before, I was planning for this interview and all this chat. And it's amazing to hear someone like yourself that has the experience in the culture and has watched the culture evolve and kind of understands the best way for us to bring this idea or vision to reality. It's because I don't know if you follow the comedy industry at all, but I think that's happening, and the comedy industry is ahead of the hip hop industry in the sense where they're almost already at that point.
Yeah.
because you have comedians that almost all comedians have their own podcast now, right? So they all have their own media platform. And exactly like you were saying, this person goes on their podcast, and then this person goes on their podcast, and this person, and you're creating like the Marvel universe of comedy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you tune into one, and then all of a sudden you get invested in them. You get
Yeah.
invested in them, and I think that can absolutely happen with hip hop, and I think it's
Yeah.
going to. You know,
Straight up. I mean, that's they figured it out. I look at there's a new sound. I don't know if you know the I'm a piano sound. I'm a
no,
piano. It's a dance sound that's from South Africa, but it's taken over the world.
Mm.
Uh, and I look at how even here in Australia, it's such a thing. It's a whole dance sound. You know what I mean? And I kind of like, because of where I'm from and where it started, I know how it started. And I look at how quick it's caught on to the whole world, and how the artists have that short attention span as well, where a single is what you need to blow up, you know. But how they moving, they get on, they create a song, they put like 6 guys on the song, right? The song blows up, and then they go on tour and call 4 other guys who have singles currently that are hot, and then they go on tour with them, and they putting each other on so quick. Everybody is able to blow as long as everybody's got the hottest single. So it's like, you know, as long as you're hot right now, you're going on tour. Doesn't matter who or what, but they've mastered the whole unity and just uplifting everyone up together at the same time, and it's happening. And I sat back and I'm like, fuck, like hip hop is missing this right now because everybody is so focused on themselves that look at the stats. I think a week ago they were like, there hasn't been a hip hop hit in 4 years or something like that. There hasn't been a hip hop hit, #1 hit in 4 years. And I was like, freak, man. And in my head, because I'm from South Africa, I'm thinking, this I'm a piano sound is fucking mad, bro. It's just got us all focused on that sound, that party life, that nobody's creating hip hop party music. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn. And I look at my peeps in South Africa, I know a whole lot of rappers, and I'm like, guys, like this is literally the opportunity to create banging underground hip hop songs and get them out because you don't need radio as much. You know what I mean? But now the media is so focused on pushing this sound that hip hop is almost like feels like it's dying and nobody's paying so much attention to it, you know? And it gets me back to that era of that, fuck, we just came out of COVID. So people are not thinking, yo, let's pull up, let's start back from scratch. Let's start writing music. No, people are not thinking that because all the attention is at party, we got party. This is the sound. And you know, the rappers are actually now converting into the sound and creating that sound. It's not even hip hop. And it's like, okay, you want a quick buck too? But then if this sound dies out, you want to come back and do hip hop? You know, what's going on? You know, so they've mastered putting each other on, which is something we need to work on, which is currently what we are trying to build as a community. Let's get back to that, put each other on. Whoever's got a gig or start flying music, make great music, share the music, perform the music, create merch around the music, call us out to support you or call us out to sell your merch, whatever. You know, we need to rebuild that because that's what's missing.
Have people been like well receiving of this concept? Like, I don't know if you've been explaining this concept in that amount of depth to like most people, but whenever you do talk about it, do people kind of see the vision and get on board, or are people standoffish to it? Or
I haven't really explained it to this depth, but you know, the few that I've spoken to see it. You know, there's a saying that you know the saying where you can take a horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. You know, that's as far as you can take it. Like I can be like, yo, there's a show next week. Pull up. I'm also going to be there. Let's see what happens, and we go from there. If they don't show up, they don't show up. There's nothing I can do about it. But because I showed up, I'm able to move on to the next level and see what am I working with, who's here. You know what I mean? I'm always with T, and we're always trying to support shows. We always supporting shows. We're always telling cats, yo, bring your posters to the shop so that you know there's promo. We're literally trying to be the action of exactly what we're speaking about. Because we can speak, but words are just words if there's no action. You know, so we're trying to be the action of putting in the work and just you know leading by example. You know, those who catch on, we will join in and we become a stronger team. You know what I mean? And it just keeps growing. Some people might catch on now, some people might catch on later. It's never too late. You know, we need everybody to be involved. So, you know, we just give it time because not everybody can, we're not even trying to convince. We're not trying to convince you. You already know what you want to do. You know how you want to do it. But just, you know, add this little thing that we're doing into your vision. See if it works. If it doesn't work, pull out. Nobody's tying you down to say, you need to do this. No, we all need to play a part. You know what I mean? And make it happen. This is a teamwork effort. As competitive as the sport is, it's teamwork half the time. You need the DJs, you need the rappers, you need the b-boys, you need the graffiti creds. Once the whole culture comes together, it becomes so beautiful and colorful. You know, when there's one aspect missing, you can feel it. When you go to a hip hop show and there's no graffiti, you know it's a hip hop show, but there's something missing. You know, if the DJ is not there, you know these cats are gonna rap and beatbox, but there's something missing. You know what I mean? But when everybody's there, you feel alive. You feel like, yeah, this is where you know things are happening. Everybody's here, everybody's pulling up. It's the culture. You can even document it, shoot a music video, or whatever. because everybody's present and everybody's playing their part. You know.
Mm. Yeah, bro. I think this opens the doors to so many, like, the concept that you're talking about. I think it opens the doors to so many possibilities when it comes to putting on events, when it comes to just people living their lives. If they decide that they want to be a part of the culture and a part of the community, it opens doors for them to so many things that they can go and participate in. And like, I'm moving to Melbourne, bro, latest early February, and I would love to help out in any way I can and
Straight
just
up,
be
man. We're
part of
looking
it.
forward to it. I'm
Yeah.
excited now you're saying it. Like, okay, that's dope.
Yeah, same, bro. Like I've only recently like dove deep into hip hop. I've always been a surface level fan
Okay.
since early teenager, but the last couple of years have I really started digging into it, and it was like an amazing eye opening experience. You know what I mean? I started realizing how little I actually knew about it, and how much there is to know, and how much there is to indulge in. You know what I mean? And I've literally fallen in love with it, bro. I spend every fucking minute out of work just doing something related to hip hop. Most of it is my own stuff, but it's always I'm listening to hip hop. I'm thinking about hip hop. I'm thinking, oh, how's this person rhyming? It's just, it's amazing. And I love your vision, and I love, what you want to do. And I think, like you said, the more people that get involved with that, the more people are going to become attracted to that, and it's just going to keep growing,
Straight up, man. Straight up. I mean, like I even tell a lot of cats that I work with that the hip hop pie is big. There's no need to be greedy. It's so big. No one man can say this is my hip hop. You can't. It's too big, bro. Even if you think you're good at that, that's good. You're good at that. But understand that you have friends around you who can actually fill in other gaps. There's people around them who can fill in other gaps, because this is one huge ass pie. Everybody can eat. There's no need to be greedy. There's no need to compete. If it's competition, it's healthy. It's for the minor things. Get it done. When it's done, it's done. You keep moving. You know what I mean? Everybody can benefit off hip hop once you understand what the culture is about. Because hip hop teaches so much. It gives so much. It's our responsibility as the custodians of hip hop to give back to it and nurture it. You know what I mean? And make sure that it's growing in a very good way, that even when we're gone, those that come after us understand that this actually is our bread and butter, our space of happiness, our, all sorts of emotional attachments to the culture. It's home. I remember when I got here, me and my wife were like, yo, what you gonna do, man? Like, there's so much that you can't do since you're here and you don't know a lot of people, so I understand, And I was like, let me find hip hop. I don't know where I'm gonna find it, but once I do, she knows I'm home once I found it. And the first spot I found it, I was like, yo, guess what? She's like, what? I found hip hop. She's like, for real? I'm like, yeah. I don't know how the journey's gonna be from this point on, but boom. Ever since then, I met so many people. I met T, I met Deeds from the Get Down, I met the Dojo, Mono, the Messenger, Kudos. There's just a lot of cats that I ended up gravitating towards because I was seeking that feeling of home, and I know hip hop could give me that. Doesn't matter where you are in this world, as long as I can find that, I know how the culture is and I know how it feels. You can just play a Biggie song and get everybody playing, like, oh yeah, because that's how the culture is. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get just an intro into how it's received here, and then I'd know how to, move from there. And yeah, I met everybody. Now you got me to meet you, and I'm sitting right here with you until I see you in physical form, and it's all love. That's what's up, bro.
100%, bro. Yeah, I'm so glad. Like, T put me onto you. T, I was chatting with him. I can't even remember what sparked the conversation, but I was just chatting with him on Insta. And he put me onto Mr. Ruckman as well, which I recorded an episode with him a couple of weeks ago. Amazing chat, an amazing guy as well.
Dope. One of my favorites as well. I did a song with him.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, there's a song called "Killing with Success." It's also got a music video.
Killing with Success.
Killing with Success. It's on his new album.
Oh well, I must have heard it. I've listened to his album.
Yeah, I think it's track number 3 on the album. Yeah. Ruckman is a dope MC, man. Like, when I first heard of him, I was mind blown, bro. I was like, whoa. Funny enough, last week was there's a DJ called DJ Kai. He had a birthday party at his warehouse, and that's where we met a year ago last week. So when we were there, I'm like, oh snap, it's our anniversary. This was the first time I met, Kudos. This is exactly the same spot, same date. It's just that we're not wearing costumes, because the last time was a Halloween party, and this time it was just a happy birthday celebration type of situation. So that's when I met everyone at that specific party. I met Kudos, I met Mr. Ruckman, I met DJ Kai, I met Toomey and the B. There was just a lot of... That's when I feel like I met a good feel of the culture. And I was like, okay, now I know who's who. And then I started going back home, trying to get their music, and I started listening. I'm like, damn, this freaking hip-hop out here is wild, And that fueled me. It was like, okay, now I know. Because it's different when you don't know. And you're like, are they going to like my sound? And it just becomes a whole thing. But when I listen to the music, I'm like, oh, this is my type of shit. Yeah. Now I know who to play with, who to feature, who to compete with, if ever. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, Ruckman is a G. He's the dog.
Yeah, bro. It's awesome. And he's another classic example of, like we were talking about before, where you've got an artist that's extremely, fine-tuned and just very, very good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't get that recognition. And I just I don't fully understand why. I mean, his newest album, he's obviously doing well for himself, but it's like the whole country should know about this. It's a beautiful piece of art within itself, that album.
True. And bear in mind, when we'll go back to the conversation about corporate stepping into hip hop. When they step in, now they are able to filter what the world listens to or not. And they feed the people what they want the people to listen to. So now it can be frustrating if you want to get into that world and you want to impress the corporate. It can be frustrating because you feel like they're not seeing you or they're not hearing you or you're not pushing hard enough. But they probably have heard you and they just don't want to fuck with your shit. And they don't want the world to hear your shit because that's going to dilute the way people think. That's going to change the way people consume. And they don't want that. Because if they do that, then they're losing out on a lot of money. It's like, I'll give you an example. Like, for instance, pharmacies or doctors. They will never tell you herbs work. Drink herbs. No, they'll because if they do that, they lose business. A shitload of it. You know what I mean? So they will tell you to come through, get some pills here, drink them 7 days, come back next week, re-up. Just like that, because they want to keep you here. So sometimes as an artist, it can be frustrating if you're trying to impress the machine. I'll put it as that. The machine. If you try and impress the machine, probably your oil is just not the one they want to use. So they'll stay away from you and they'll do their best not to get you in. So that's why we need to think different. We need to understand that the machine is nothing without us. We don't have to go to the machine and be like, yo, use me, I can do. No, the machine always goes out to find the people that it feels that will work for them. And we should never think about the machine. Only when it comes to us. And when it comes to us, we should be at a position to say no. You know what I mean? Because every time we go to the machine is saying no, no, no. Because we're always going to the machine. But do your thing, the machine will come to you and always be at a position to say, no, I'm not doing this for you. You've ate off my culture too much for me to do it for you. Now it's about the culture. Stay out. Go deal with those who think you work for them. Because I mean, my culture right now is not even watching the TV. My culture right now doesn't listen to the radio. My culture is creating. My culture is outside. We're meeting up. We're doing things. You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys. Because the other thing about the machine is that once it pulls you in, it isolates you from the culture, and then now you work for the machine. Now you every day the machine is expecting you never have a free time. If they sign you up for a 3-album deal, they want the 3-album deal. If it's a 360 deal, they attach you by paying you in advance and getting you to work extra hard to pay them back. And you probably paid them back without even realizing. But because you're so caught up in this contract, you become a stranger to us who are in the culture. Maybe we see you like, eyes blown up. But he's depressed. He doesn't have us. He doesn't have people to bounce off ideas with. You know what I mean? So that's how we need to be aware that there's two sides. There's the good and the bad. Right now, we're working on the good and trying to make the good work. The bad will always step in to try and see how stable this whole ship is. If it's not stable, it's going to take a few good people. It's going to take them with and bounce. And we have to start from scratch again. So it's important for us to pull up, build this foundation and make it solid. So that anytime the machine decides to come and fuck up with our shitty cart, it's not even allowed to step in because we already know it's fucked up so many careers over the years. You know what I mean? And this is the only good thing we have to ourselves that is undiluted. It's as raw as it is and as pure as it is and grows so many humans. Hip-hop is a beautiful space, man. You can be mentally sick or just feeling a certain way. You just need that one good song or one good album and it can change your life just like that. Because hip-hop is like, I love saying that hip-hop is an emotional genre. Because R&B can give you a full verse of just singing about one thing. In hip-hop, 16 bars, bro, line for line. I can take you from here to Japan, move you there, take you underground, talk about, so many things in just one 16 verse. You know what I mean? And it's a whole roller coaster. If you've seen, if you've been to a one hip-hop concert, and you know the lyrics of the songs, or you're watching people who know the lyrics of the songs, watch how the artist is literally on stage performing for you, but you're singing with the artist. And you're singing with so much passion that you forget that the artist that created the song is right there singing for you. You know what I mean? And you're like, just write it out. Even when the beat comes in, you just go crazy. You just, because it's got us so emotionally attached. And there's life lessons that you learned through so many songs. Like even we look up to so many artists that they've gave us life lessons and they're not even aware of. They've pulled us out of the ditch and they not even know about it. We've been depressed, but we listen to so many things that it pulls you out. Hip-hop is like so street. If you want to know about the streets, hip-hop. If you want to know how to survive, hip-hop. It will teach you about girls. It will teach you about money. It will teach you about, how to spend it or how to lose it quick. It will teach you about drugs. It will teach you about so many things. It just depends on which artist you choose to listen to or which style you choose to listen to. But it's got lessons. There's so many lessons in it.
It does,
Yeah,
bro. I've learned so much from hip hop. I've learned so much of my work ethic, my discipline, my focus,
yeah,
my prioritizing, my goals, all of that stuff. I've learned all of that from
yeah,
hip hop and honestly, and comedy as well.
yeah, yeah,
Listening to comedians talk on podcasts because I think there's a lot of crossover with hip hop and comedy, and I
yeah,
think definitely in terms of the art form and also in terms of the mindset that it takes to excel in that
yeah,
field.
yeah. No, real talk. Yeah, comedy and hip hop go hand in hand. It's like hand in glove. It's a
Mm,
beautiful thing. Even in South Africa, a lot of comedian friends of mine, when they go in, they use my song or whoever is got the hottest song. They walk in with their song like this is hip hop.
mm,
Because you're actually recognizing that I'm actually doing great music. For you to use that specific song to walk in, because maybe I said your name on the song, or you relate to the chorus, or you just like the beat. You know what I mean? It's and I mean with hip hop, I think the other reason is that hip hop has got the use of metaphors
mm.
and just a creative way of getting to the point, just like comedy is. You know what I mean? That's where it merges because you have to be creative in delivering your punchlines. And hip hop is also about punchlines, so it makes sense that they feel so related to each other.
Yeah, and you're trying to find that like perception that no one has sort of found before, a new
Yeah,
angle or something, or
yeah,
how can I bend this word in a way that no one's ever thought of doing before? And the same
yeah,
goes for comedy,
yeah,
except it's just about premises.
yeah,
How can I take this
yeah,
premise that's a real thing that happens in the real world and
yeah,
find a new angle on it to make people laugh in a
yeah,
way they weren't expecting?
yeah.
They're
Yeah,
both
real talk.
both very beautiful art forms. Yeah.
Straight up,
Um,
straight up.
bro, I wanted to ask you about your song Amandla or Amandla.
Yeah, yeah.
And like the whole meaning behind that, what it means to you, like the impact I guess it's had on the people, and just yeah, anything else you can share about
Amandla means power, power to the people. It was a word used by the people during apartheid in South Africa. There was a political party called the ANC, and that's how they used to chant to encourage people or to keep them in the zone. Amandla, away to saying away to means it's ours. Away to Amandla, away to yeah, the power is ours.
it.
Power to the people. So yeah, it's and you put your fist up when you do it means yeah. So that was the chant they used to use in those times. I mean, till this day, political parties still use it um, to get the people riled up and excited or motivated or recognize or giving them that moment of recognition that we're here, we're present, we're about to speak about the power that belongs to you, you know. And then how that song came about. Uh, there was an incident that happened in South Africa where it's called the Marikana massacres, where miners were trying to or having a protest um, and were demanding better pay. And on that very specific day, I think it had something that happened in it. I'd say a full day where miners gathered and they were demanding the attention of the company that they were working for. And as they were speaking to the guy who was leading the whole negotiation, the cops came through and tried to just make sure that everybody just leaves. But how they, in the manner that they did it, was brutal because everybody or half the people there got shot. It was terrible. I think if you look at we have a music video for the song Amandla.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part when the video starts, you can see there's people running and there's shots happening there. That was from that specific day.
Was that real footage?
Yeah, that was real footage.
Wow. Okay.
The way we did the video, we shot the video in my garage. Where you see us, that's where we in the garage, and then we decided to take real life events that happened, and we just put them across the video to drive the message of the song. And the chorus, we just shifted the chorus in a way to make people understand this is where we come from. We don't have to be there. We are the change. The chorus is like Amandla. Everybody raise up their fist, say Amandla. We gonna be the change in this place cause Amandla. Written on everybody's face is Amandla. Away to Amandla. Away to. So we try to uplift everyone to say that we are the change that we want to see in this world, and we're driving that through the song to show them what's been going on. And through our music, we are saying that we don't have to be in the space unless we change the narrative. You know, it goes back. It's almost like the conversation of the machine and the man. The machine is driving the emotions and how people should be living in this world, and taking away their freedom and taking away the freedom of speech and all sorts of angles of the existence that people do not sometimes recognize that they are the biggest piece that makes the machine stop. If they decide they don't want to go to work, the machine stops. And if literally, if everybody decided from one company, we're not going to work tomorrow, the machine stops.
Mm.
You know, so there's things that we can do as a people to stop certain things from happening, but it needs us to understand how the machine works and why it works that way, and try and create solutions around making things better for ourselves and the next generations to come. So that's why we did that song, to try and drive a message of hope to the people that, you know, they are not going through whatever they're going through by themselves. We're all going through it. We just need to stand up and be brave enough to be the change we want to see in the world.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful message, you know, and it's another example of how powerful hip hop is and what it can do to change lives.
Yeah.
You know, I think for a lot of people, at least in my life, hip hop has this reputation of drugs, violence, misogyny, you know, and that's essentially the perception it has from a lot of people. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that those elements don't exist within a lot of the music, and it's especially drugs is something that a lot of people in the community have experienced and or struggled with. You know, it's definitely there, but the message of the culture and the power that hip hop possesses is just overlooked.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not seen. And I wish I knew a way to help people understand that isn't hip hop. Like that, okay, that exists. That's part of it. It's involved, and it's part of the history, but that doesn't define hip hop.
Yeah. I mean, it still goes back to what we were speaking about, the machine. The machine puts out what the machine wants, and the narrative that people should know about this culture we call home, or that we love so much. So they will drive the narrative that, I mean, hip hop is all about sex, drugs, and money, fast cars, big houses, forgetting that there's a history behind hip hop. Hip hop speaks for the people. Hip hop spreads messages. Hip hop uplifts the people. That's the reason why it was created in the first place, to speak about what's going on around you, what's going on in your life, you know. But the narrative that is out there and what the kids are seeing on TV is exactly what they're trying to replicate. Even if they've never lived it, they feel like it's the coolest thing, and they'll write about it as if they've lived it, but they've never lived it. You know what I mean? So there's always two angles to how hip hop is received. That's why we need to focus on building the good image of it, and create the space where, if you really want to learn about hip hop, pull up to whatever we're doing. Come see how we do it. You know what I mean? You won't see what we're doing on TV. They'll never show it on TV unless we're fighting, unless we're breaking cars, unless, you know, we're shooting at each other. That version they will show you. But we're not doing that here. That's not what we're doing. Here we're building each other up, we're uplifting, and we're teaching each other how to be humans, better humans. You know what I mean? And we use it for that positive aspect, because the machine will never. That's why you find the people that are driving the narrative, and then you find the stories that they are part of the cult, or they've sold their souls, or because that's the machine. The machine has got those boxes in there. You just need to, you fit into one, the whole world knows about you. You know what I mean? But if you can't make it, you feel so stressed. Oh man, nobody wants to hear my music. But people are listening to your music. You're just not getting the same attention that those guys are getting. And if you really want that attention that those guys are getting, understand how they're working. These guys are pushing every day. They're doing interviews every day. Just understand their work schedule, mimic that, do it on this side, and put in 10 times the work that they're doing. You'll get the same reaction. The only difference is you won't be seen as a celebrity, but they'll see you. They will see you, and they'll deem you as competition, and they will do as much as they can to stop you. You know, then you find all sorts of stories around you, which were not created in the culture, but the machine creates, because you're a distraction, and they tarnish your image. You know what I mean? And you're like, and then you end up giving up on the craft itself because of how powerful they threw their money to mediums that are able to drive the narrative about your life. They don't call you a drug addict and put your pictures on fucking Photoshop and create images of you that you've never seen of yourself, and will be headlines everywhere. We chilling with you right here. You're like, dude, but you look cool. But the rest of the world is thinking, fuck, you fucked up, bro. You know what I mean? And they, just like that, you red taped, you blacklisted, you know? So we need to understand what position we're playing. We need to know who is competing against us, to be really honest, and who is dividing us, you know, and has always been dividing us ever since they decided to step into the culture, you know, and you know, dismantled everything that we've ever worked for. You know, so now it's the time for us to rebuild a stronger foundation with better walls that are strong enough to just not break down, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the beautiful thing about doing that, if we do build this new foundation with stronger walls, and we cultivate this community and this culture based off of passion, based off of you know, a desire to bring each other up and build each other up, we can attract the people. And if the people come over, the beautiful thing about the world we live in today is we can create our own media outlets, we can create our own promotion agencies, we can create our own artists, we can create everything can be in-house. And so once the people come to the culture, the machine is like, they don't have anything to do with the machine. So when the machine puts out things to tarnish our reputation, they don't even see that. We don't see that. They don't see that. The people in the culture don't see that. And if we can make the culture big enough and strong enough, then we, you know what I mean? Like,
straight up.
And it doesn't matter what happens out there.
Yeah, because look at how things are back then. You would be at shows and you'd find A&Rs, looking for the freshest artists to sign up to a new record label or whatnot. Nowadays, you don't see them anywhere. Nowadays, they're on Spotify. You're constantly listening to music. And once they even get you, they're not even sure what to do with you because you record your own music at home. You release your own music. So what's the use of being part of the machine if you can do all that shit by yourself at home? You know what I mean? So now they're trying to figure out new ways of getting us distracted, of getting our attention to keep messing with them. They need to constantly find new ways. And at the same time, they are the ones that are creating all these platforms. Look at, for instance, Spotify. We literally release our music to be on Spotify, but we're not getting paid. The guy that is doing Spotify is the one who's getting paid. You know, because you need what? A good 350 listeners a day to get at least $1 or half $1.
That's crazy.
That's fucking crazy, bro.
Yeah.
So you look at how we used to make money, at least knowing that you would sell a CD. Selling CDs was a way of getting revenue back or whatever. Nowadays, you release music, put it in the digital space, and you don't have shit. You don't get paid unless you're getting 350 listeners, bro. How are you gonna do that every day? You know what I mean? And that's why I have my music online. It's something that I ended up deciding that, you know what, I'm just gonna make my music accessible. I'm not gonna do it for the money because clearly they've literally killed that aspect of us. I mean, you if you don't have a studio, you're still paying like what, $60 to $70 to get in a studio, if not more. Then you still have to pay for mastering. Then you still have to pay a designer to do your artwork, and then you drop the album on the social on the digital streaming platforms, and then you're taking out money to promote that and get it to people who are on the net and try and create so much buzz around it, and then shoot a music video, which is all the stuff is you literally, taking out money to get it to manifest, and you're never getting anything back unless you have a plan, unless you have a community that supports you, unless you have merch, unless you know what I mean. Like you're constantly trying to figure out how you want to play this game, and the machine is constantly coming up with ways to make it hard for you. And that's only because you're working in your own corner. You don't have the community to support you. You don't have activities around the community, and which is what we are trying to dismantle altogether.
Yeah, I'm excited by this, bro. I really am. I think it's possible, and I think it can work, and I think it's the right time to do it. The combination of, like you said, which I hadn't thought of, but post-COVID, that's much better too, by the way. But yeah, the combination of being after COVID and also with the possibilities, opportunities, and accessibility that we have with technology and the internet, it's definitely got its cons as well. Which we've touched on as well. But we need to use it as a tool to exactly like you said, cut the machine out. We don't need them anymore. We don't need anyone to like a record label used to get people in the studios. They used to put eyes on your stuff. They used to run the posters, the marketing, all of this. They did all of that, but we can do that ourselves now.
Straight up. It's all like we have all the resources now to function. If we're not functioning, it's because we're not thinking and we're not working together. Period. Once we understand that we are able to work together because we have all these resources. You got a homie that's got a video camera or is good at using it. You got a homie that's got a studio who records and masters, or you're able to do all that stuff by yourself. Either way, the resources are there. You just need to use them to the best ability of whatever you're trying to achieve. And it's even better when you're able to include people to help you because they also enhancing their skills and learning more on how to move and to help the next person if they ever need the help that you need.
So what advice would you have for any up and coming artists, anyone that's looking to get involved in the culture in one way or another, whether it's through producing, DJing, anything at all? What advice would you have for them in terms of aiming to bring them back to where the culture is and them doing their part in doing that as well?
I'd say no man is an island, first of all. Utilize the people that are around you, because there's a thing that if my friends don't use me, I'm useless. So I expect my friends to use me because I'm useful. You know what I mean? There's people that are like, oh, he's using me. Of course he's using you. What do you expect? You're good, bro. You know what I mean? So that's what you should feel like. Because if I'm your friend and I don't use you, or I don't use you or use your friend instead, that means your friend is more useful than you because you feel like I'm using you. You understand? Like, it's like, use people because that's how life is. We all should be using each other to help each other out. You know what I mean? So use the people around you, get them involved, get them to support you and support them back. Find out where the hip hop is always at. Don't go to a show only when you perform. That's whack. Support everybody that's out there, every show. Don't just go, nah, I'm not gonna go to the show. I'm not on the lineup. Okay, cool. You're not on the lineup, so you're gonna stay home and do what? Unless you're doing something productive. Get your ass out there and support the culture. You know what I mean? Meet new people. Know what's going on. Keep in the loop and find out where can you help. Or just find out how to improve whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Be creative. Hip hop is about entrepreneurial skills as well. Enhance those. Learn how the business is, because music is not about writing music, recording it, and releasing it the next day. There's so much more to do after that. Learn about the business so that you know how to be better at the business aspect of the music or the whatever aspect of the hip hop culture that you feel. And you don't even have to be a rapper, bro. Don't just think about I want to rap. Nah. There's so many ways to contribute to the culture besides hip hop, besides being a b-boy, besides being a graffiti head, besides being a DJ. We need lawyers. We need hip hop lawyers that are going to stand for us when the cops come through. You know what I mean? We need so many aspects. We need managers. We need designers. There's so many parts that a person can play that to still contribute in the culture. You know, find out what it is, be strong at it, own it, tell people about it, help other people out as well. You know, and just to sum it up, just be great at whatever you're doing with whoever you're doing it with. Make sure that you put in 120, if not 200, at anything that you're doing, and don't make a move unless it counts. Yeah.
That's a very important one that I'm absolutely going to keep on my mind is don't make a move unless it counts. I'm always busy, right? I'm always doing stuff. I'm always overcommitting, which is definitely a problem at the moment. I've got too much to do, but how much of what I'm doing counts. And you've absolutely taught me that today is I need to sit down, and I'm probably going to do this tomorrow, and just look at everything I've got going on, reprioritize it, and how much of that counts, how much of that is contributing to the culture, and how much of that is moving me forward. I thank you for sharing that as well.
Big up, fam. Anytime.
Is there anything you want to put out there in the world? Any shows that you want to express? Obviously, Breaking Bread and Fat Fried and Tasty. Anything you want to talk about at all?
Breaking Bread Productions is the thing. Check out, get on social media. Check out Breaking Bread Productions. If you're hungry, go to Fat, go get yourself some chicken, or chips, or something. If you're looking for me, I'm on social media. I'm on Spotify. Just look for Shynin Armour. Other than that, I'm always outside. So look out where the shows are at. You probably meet up with me, and when you meet up with me, give me a pound and say, "What up?" And chop it up for like 2 minutes. And yeah, man. Other than that, let's all work together to build hip hop in Melbourne, Australia, the whole of Australia. Let's pull up and just make epic moves through hip hop, because that's what the one thing we all in common love. So it's our baby to raise. It's always been. It's a 50-year-old baby now, so you know what I mean. So we still at it. That's me in the gist.
Awesome, bro. That's amazing. I might stay on Zoom and have a quick chat, just quick afterwards, if you're up for it.
No sweat.
But yeah, thanks so much for coming on. It was great chatting to you. It really was. I said this to Mr. Ruckman, but I'm gonna have to say it again to you. Is like at the time of recording Mr. Ruckman, that was the favorite episode of mine, just in terms of my own enjoyment. But I think this one has taken its place. Sorry, Ruckman, but his was still amazing, right? But this has been honestly so eye-opening in so many ways. So interesting in terms of your music and the concepts put into place. And so inspiring in terms of what we can do moving forward and how we can shape the culture. So thanks so much for coming on, Shynin Armour.
Big up. Thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you, dog. The platform is so. I take this like a whole therapy session. It's uplifting. It's getting us to actually reflect about where we even come from to where we're at now, which is a very beautiful thing. To share the stories, keep this platform alive. Keep the artists will gravitate to you. Just keep them, engaging about their experiences. And hopefully all these kids are actually tuning in to learn something from all the guests that you have here. This is a very beautiful, unique platform that you have here. Keep it going, fam. We out here, we supporting you, and we love what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thanks, bro. It means a lot, so thank you so much.
Big up.
All right, chat to you guys later.
Peace.
Everybody raise up the fist, say we gon' be the change in this place, cause written on everybody's faces. I wait. Everybody raise up the fist, say we gon' be the change in this place, cause written on everybody's faces. I wait. I rep Mosake Sani, the hood is known as Okasi. Got the one thing where we hold the mic like Okapis. Now Chais Gazi, who gaan ons tellen met die Pakistani yelle kwala baby charta Beyonce Gassi.
It's the same in Middle East, that shit's got me worried.
It ain't nothing funny, that's why we got the Gassi army to support black business and regulate the economy. I went from Osaken to Soweto, all across the world. I got a message to ghettos. Get your Shynin Armour on and get your mental tested. We fighting like martyrs to ignite all of the essence. Rhyming too free, anyone's mental arrested. Roll a blunt with SCF, take a puff and pass it. It's brotherhood of the mic, yeah, that's how we blend blessing. We rap the verse, always use the mic and the fist, lighting a spliff. Teach you on how to resist, counting shit. Accounting for the kids and the biz. Say yo, it is what it is. Say yo, we love what it is. Say, everybody raise up the fist, say we gon' be the change in this place, cause written on everybody's faces. I wait. Everybody raise up the fist, say we gon' be the change in this place, cause written on everybody's faces. I wait.
You find me chilling in the middle land, where life is slow if you ain't got a plan.